Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League. We are here for the penultimate round of the season here in Tier 1. And we are at the Temple of Speed, Monza, Italy. And it's going to be a very fast-paced race with the high-end top-end speeds through the straights. But also, as we've seen in past Monza, it can cause a little bit of chaos with the heavy braking into the chicanes. Luckily, the drivers don't have to worry about other cars in qualifying because it's one-shot qualifying, being a sprint evening, which means we have one-shot qualifying, a sprint race, a one-shot qualifying again before the feature race of the evening. My name is JPH, and alongside me, as per normal all season so far, is Mikey RK13. Good evening, Mikey. How are you?
Good evening, buddy. Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Obviously, penultimate round at the Temple Speed. Obviously, that time of year as well. Now we're getting close to the end of the season as well as Christmas, so obviously quite a festive cheer among the group at the moment. But obviously, quite a quiet paddock this evening due to obviously other commitments from our drivers. But it's fair enough. We appreciate if people can and can't make it. It's fair enough. But no, pretty decent lineup to be fair tonight. Obviously, like you said, got our first obviously qualifying, give the guys a minute or two just to get their stuff together. And then, apparently someone has readied up already. Oh boy.
Well, it's we're going to be heading into it, and we're going to be on board with Louis 675R, reserve in the Sauber. Welcome to Simon Road and Yellow Geeson in the chat, but across the line for Louis as we head absolutely flat chat all the way down to the first chicane. Tip it in second gear. You want to get as good an exit as you can out of the first chicane as you head down through a flat out right hander and down to the Della Roscia chicane. Curva Grande. Down to the Della Roscia chicane we go, 100 metres on the brakes, down to third, using as much curb as you dare, not letting the car to bounce off the road. Into Lesmo 1, very late apex, into Lesmo 1, use a bit of curb on the outside before you head down towards Lesmo 2, again drop a couple of gears, tip it in and get back on the throttle as you then head down towards the infamous Ascari chicane, under the old banking, which used to be amazing to see these cars on the old banking, but into Ascari then, just after the 100 metres, and Louis gets it just about right through there, squeezing every inch of the road. Ashtube's retired from the session. Unfortunately, he's an accident, I suspect, at Ascari. Down, and now I should call this I think it's the Alboreto curve nowadays, but to me and to pretty much every racing fan, it is Parabolica. And Louis just tipping in slightly too much, taking a little bit of grass on the entry. It's going to be Sydney on pole position with Yellow Gleeson alongside. I think Louis in the mid-pack. But a lap of Monza, that was with Louis in the Sauber. In the grid order, it is Yellow Geeson on second place, but his teammate Sydney on pole position. It's a Red Bull lockout for the front row. Merckx and Bjorn start on row 2 with Louis and the Steps row 3. Owen and Rock Lee, a newcomer to the series, on row 4. Row 5, ARL, the last to get a time in. Ashtube lines up alongside him, didn't set a time. Jeremy Clarkson and the Wolf both set invalid lap times, thus the disqualification next to their name. And in the meantime, someone wrote it saying Sydney for the win, Owen to finish.
Obviously, it might be quite an interesting race to be fair. For obviously the sprint. It goes to 12 laps, so I'm not sure if it might be an issue with this. Right.
So we'll wait for everyone to prepare their strategy for the sprint.
They won't be able to, will they? Because obviously someone's readied up.
Well, it goes to the strategy screen on the grid now.
Well, you change it though, for even if someone's.
Well, you can't change your setup, but you can change the tyres that you start the sprint on. and your fuel load.
Yeah, there's an issue as well apparently. Hold on 2 seconds. We might need to do a restart, unfortunately. So yeah, we're going to have to do a restart. Give me a second. Let me reboot the film.
I mean, we can set a custom grid as well.
Give me a minute.
So once Mikey gets the new lobby going. But yeah, so what will happen is we'll have a restart of the session. Everyone, I suspect, Mike, I believe, are we going to go straight into a sprint race, or are we going to have one-shot qualifying again?
Probably do one shot again, just so it's sorted. It just keeps it just consistent. Just gives the guys a bit of a chance. Just bear with me, sorry.
That's right. So we have a full reset of the weekend. See, some of the drivers will have whilst they wait for an invite, we'll go along and sort of have a minor practice going down towards turn 1. And we'll have a little commentary on that for this little mini thing. And Beyond the Bow decides he doesn't like Ash anymore going into turn 1 on the formation. We got more country in the Yellow Geese and the Wolf. Mikey has sent us a brand new invite though, so we shall join that one. It's probably one of the big downsides of the F1 games isn't when you load setups for a lobby, they don't always come across perfectly, which doesn't always help. But looks like it's all good to go once again. So as we get everyone into the paddock once again, everyone will start taking their cars. You can see it. All the drivers you can choose from. Actually, there's Lando Norris. Rock Lee going as Lewis Hamilton. Bjorn picking the role of Lance Stroll, which is very interesting. Merckx as Esteban Ocon. Louis as the great Nico Hulkenberg, whilst Jeremy Clarkson takes Sainz's seat. Yellow Geeson obviously doesn't like Max Verstappen. He takes Yuki Tsunoda's place, whilst the Wolf replaces Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and Owen takes the new world champion seat of Lando Norris. And Sydney picks up the number 1 car of Max Verstappen. Whilst ARL has Liam Lawson with Ash Duke as Isaac Hadjar. The only thing change, Mikey, is just make sure it's a sprint rather than a Grand Prix.
Let me double check. I thought I'd done that, sorry. I do apologise.
I can only tell because there's one set of laps in the bottom.
Oh.
There we go.
Just checking all. Yep.
So we're going to go for another run with someone very shortly.
Yep, sorry, I'm just making sure everything's correct and there's no issues. So I do apologise about the technical issue we have. But EA, tell it to do something and it just doesn't do it. Great. Anyway, just brilliant. Right, that should be, in fairness, all sorted.
We're going to get going into one-shot qualifying once again. Hopefully we don't get an early ready up.
Well, that's the hope, but... just a kind reminders to our drivers to be patient a little bit. So... yeah.
So we're into the session. Once again.
For the second occasion. I imagine a minute should be enough time, to be fair, to put the setup on, really, shouldn't it? I'd imagine.
You'd like to think so, but...
Let's say 16, because we all know.
All the drivers now, obviously, it's important you get your setup on, because obviously they've done quite a... well, I'm going to say all... I'd say all of them, but most of them would have done a fair chunk of testing mileage to get the setups on, or to be fair, most of them, unlike myself, I've probably played a lot of this game in comparison to what I have, so probably already have setups available to them, but even so, they still always look to refine it just a little bit before a league race. You know, just try and get an extra little tenth or even 100th here or there, because especially in qualifying around Monza, that can make a big difference in terms of your qualifying position.
Sorry, just replying to a message there, but hopefully this all goes swimmingly and we can crack on with the rest of the weekend, shall we say?
There's only one way to find out how it all goes. This track, 3.6 miles, 5.793 kilometres long.
Right, there we go. The order has been given. So 16 minutes past 8.
And the timer clicks down. In the number 2 in the McLaren garage there. Rockley in the Ferrari. Got the 2 Red Bulls. So far, it looks like a dry session. There's the 4, 3, and now the drivers can be prepared because they're going to be launched into the cars and launched into a lap of Monza. Let's not go on board with Louis this time. Let's go on board with Jeremy Clarkson as we head out of Parabolica. Mikey, you take this one away.
Obviously, obviously down to the first chicane. We'll start moving towards the left hand side. 100 metre boards. stop braking, and there we go. See, it's the right, then to the left. Get the power down. See, towards turn 3, it's 4. See, quite a long sweeping right-hander. Going into the second chicane, so you want to be on the right-hand side. Clip the left and the right. Then you come up to Lesmos. Lesmo 1. So you keep on the road. Lesmo 2. You got DRS activation. There we go. And then obviously under the bridge, obviously with the old banking on the right hand side, I believe. Here we're going into Ascari. Obviously now down the back straight towards the famous Parabolica. Bit of a distance to be fair, but hang on. Obviously, road Parabolica onto the main straight. Obviously, try and keep it to the right hand side for the shortest distance to the line. That's Merck number 1:17.8.
Yeah, good time for Merck. I noticed with Jeremy Clarkson, he really does launch the car into a corner, and you see the back end sort of not quite throwing a complete fit, but it wasn't fully comfortable coming into some of that. But Merckx does walk away on pole position this time around. Sydney in second. Yellow Geese and ARL come up trumps on row 2, with row 3 being Owen and Jeremy Clarkson. Row 4, Bjorn de Boer and the Steps. Row 5, Louis and Ashtube. And on the back row, the Wolf and Rock Lee. Every car this time around setting a time.
Obviously, it's good to see there's no DSQs, so that's pretty good.
Yellow saying he's got 1 lap pace, but race pace nowhere to be seen. And apparently through that session, he was 1,000th of a second quicker than his previous qualifying lap. So consistency, as we always see, is key.
It's improvement. Technically, I've given him a chance to improve, so happy days. But no, we'll just give the drivers a minute or two just to prep the setups. Obviously not setups, sorry, but the strategies for the race, for our sprint race.
In reality, there shouldn't be much to set up for this sprint race.
It just depends what tyre they've gone. Have they gone for the hard compound, like a harder compound this weekend, or have they stayed with balanced? So.
It all depends on which way they've gone around. I mean, you'd like to think the tyre wear around here isn't going to be massively high. I mean, it's obviously you got the sort of the Lesmos and the Parabolica, but really the chicanes won't take much out of the tyres other than a bit of traction zone on the rears. So in theory, there shouldn't be a lot of tyre wear around here, but I can't remember what compound of tyres they were using in terms of what C number they were using, because obviously if it's down the lower end, if it's the C3 to C5 range, then they are quite soft.
The question is, like, obviously from my personal experience in previous games, obviously I've not played this one as much as the previous titles, but the soft tyre you probably get 5 or 6 laps out of. Obviously that's on the general 50% race, but to be honest, I'm not the best of these games, so
well, I mean,
I just come to turn up and have fun.
The tyre wear for what it would be in the feature should be the same here, because in reality there's no difference in that. It's just the sprint's just a third race distance of the feature, which is why this is 9-lap race, because also we've got a 27-lap feature race coming up very soon. So it's it all depends on how well you can look after your tyres and how long they last for, because I mean we do see a lot on this game that the tyre delta can be quite large. So like having tyres at the end of a race can be very, very rewarding, shall we say, for those drivers.
Yeah, I think tyre wear, I know we've touched on this quite a few times over the season, Jordan, but I think tyre wear on this one's lot, I don't know, more of a heavier degrading on the tyres than the previous games. I don't know if it's just me or But then there's certain people, obviously, in the community that know how to make the certain tyres last a lot longer and get the best out of them.
I think
But,
that whilst I think they wear quicker, but the tyres actually do last a bit longer before they drop off that cliff as well. If you know what I mean, it's like they. I think on previous generations of games, you know, you've got to sort of like 20% tyre wear, and they start to drop off. Whereas I think this game is once you hit sort of like around 30-35%, that's when you really start to feel the effects of the tyres going off. So it's it kind of works in both ways, I think. So
I think it was a 23 when you just got to a certain percentage, and it was just like you were on drift tyres. You know, if you didn't have like a dialed in sort of setup, you've used like a bit on the presets, and
I mean, speaking of tyres, 3 people have elected to go on the hard tyre. That is Sydney, the Steps, and Rock Lee. Everyone else on the mediums, and I did just spot the pit stop strategies for this sprint race. Say if you started on the mediums, you'll be coming in the pits for a stop, which I very much doubt anyone on the medium tyres here is planning.
Well, it's the whole planning part of it, mate. But then obviously, if there is a safety car around here, I'd imagine people might try and be cheeky. Say like, how many laps have we got? Just
9 laps.
9 laps. The question is it worth it? That's the.
You're going to be relying a lot, if you end up doing that, you're going to end up relying very much a lot on your traction coming out of the chicanes to get you 2 or 3 places down the straight. But everyone comes to the grid for the first time tonight, and that's no surprise at the angle of Merckx and Sydney's cars, pointing at each other. They want to... Sydney knows Merck's going to come across on him, so Sydney wants to get to the outside and cover 3rd place. And that's if he doesn't get a great start, but... For the penultimate round this year, we have a sprint race at Monza, and we have 5 red lights. We are racing here in Monza, and the question is, who's got the best go away? Merckx got brilliantly away. Sydney, on those hard compound tyres, has not really got a great start. Jeremy Clarkson nearly on the grass. Bit of collision between the two as he gets himself back some room into turn 1 at the first chicane, and Sydney across the first chicane, Owen down the inside of Yellow Geeson. As they go through the chicane, a bit more bunching towards the back. ARL's gone backwards on that on the first start of the night. But it is Merckx who leads by about half a second, 4/10 to Jeremy Clarkson. But Sydney in 3rd is going to have a little bit of a battle as Owen goes down the inside of him at the variant of the Roger chicane.
Between Pure and Jella. Very close. It's quite close between Steps and Louis there, going into Lesmo 1. But no, so far so good, Jordan. Obviously, quite a clean getaway from the drivers this evening.
A lot of tyre rubbing going into the first chicane there. ARL's now at the back of this pack. Something's happened to ARL, I'm not quite sure what, but it seemed like he got swamped at the start and it's not got any better throughout this lap.
I think he might have had like a slight bit of contact. I'll just see if I don't know if he's got damage though, Job.
Just having a look now. I don't think he's got any visible damage, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have any. Meanwhile, we have the Steps looking on the inside of the Wolf. I think the Steps actually more defending from the Wolf. The Wolf on that softer medium tyre compared to the hards. Merckx leads the first lap of 9. As they go down to the Variance del Retifilio, which is the first chicane. And Owen not pulling away from Sydney here as DRS is now active. They will first get it on the way down to Ascari.
Oh, we've got a yellow flag.
That's the Wolf, who has some wing damage on the front left. But back with Owen, he's got Sydney, who is slowly getting those tyres up to temperature here. Once those hards get into a nice window, they do become an okay sort of race tyre on this game. Still not the nicest tyre, but once they're up to temperature, you can use them a little bit. What this does mean, though, I think, is that Sydney's gone with a harder tyre allocation, which means he'll have 2 sets of mediums and 1 hard now for the feature race.
Especially around there, I think it was 20 around Monza, so to be honest, having that harder sort of set would probably do the world of good, to be fair. Well, obviously time will tell. See what the strategy
meanwhile,
works
Bjorn
out.
gets down the inside of Yellow Geeson. A lovely patient move through Parabolica. And the Aston Martin up into 5th. Remember, the top 6 score points in the IRL sprint race. 6 for the winner, down to 1. And here comes Sydney down the inside of Owen. Move complete. Yellow going down the inside of Bjorn, but can't quite complete the move. Sydney does get 3rd in the end. And Bjorn gets a good run on Owen as he come out towards the Curva Grande. But the question is, can Bjorn get enough of a run to have a look down at the Della Rocha chicane? The answer is he's looking. Oh my word, is this going to be 3 wide? Not quite, but Owen does go across the chicane. That will be a warning. And from nowhere, Louis suddenly ahead of Bjorn de Boer.
I think Louis just basically capitalised on that little error there.
Broccoli has had an issue through the... That's Yellow Geeson, is it? I think Yellow Geeson ended up all over the gravel on the outside of Lesmo 2. The steps now into 7th. Louis obviously into the top 5. Owen has a slight gap now. Back at the top, Merck has a 7/10 of a gap to Jeremy Clarkson. They're probably going to try and walk away at the moment. Give themselves a gap to them fight a little bit later.
But both the racing bulls here obviously starting to catch the pack a little bit. Obviously, where these are all fighting, so could be quite a good an event, to be fair, for both the racing bulls. Obviously, bear in mind in the feature race this evening, everyone will get points no matter where they finish.
As long as they finish.
That is the point. Oh, we've got another yellow flag.
I think it's Rock Lee at Parabolica this time around, as Owen gets it all wrong going through the first chicane, gets it sideways, and Louis gets through on the exit. So Louis in the Sauber, he is only a reserve. Unfortunately, Rock Lee is retired from this sprint race, which is a big shame. Maybe taking a bit of damage somewhere that couldn't be fixed. Beyond the bow down the inside of Owen, then that's for 5th place, and the Aston Martin goes through. Remember, he's got to try and hunt down Sydney as they are championship rivals right now. The Red Bull team in a commanding position now for constructors, with being only one of 2 teams with both cars in this race for the evening. They're going to take a very commanding position in the constructors, and RB have a good chance of getting back some points they've missed out due to some absences of recent weeks. The question here is Louis quick enough? Can he get on the back of Sydney and actually take 3rd away from Sydney here in this sprint race? So see, we're not really looking at the top 2 because they're 9/10 apart, nearly a second now. So then they're a bit boring at the front, but Louis shaping up potentially to look at Sydney's 3rd, but you'd have to think he's going to have to do it sooner rather than later before those hards start to become an equal tyre.
I think that's one for all with the slide there with Sydney. No, to be fair with Lou, since he's joined obviously with the league, he's put some really impressive performances, obviously a big one being Japan. So it might be someone basically who's going to give the likes of Bjorn, Jeremy, Merck and obviously Sydney a run for the money, so we could open the championship obviously up even more going forward. So it's quite good to see more people who are the sort of the same pace getting involved. Obviously makes it more interesting as a whole. So
yeah, Louis, one of those drivers who's worked his way up the tiers. I remember racing him in tier 3 back on, I think, the F1 2020 game. When sort of me, myself and Bruce first joined IRL in that respect, and we were racing with Louis back in tier 3 when there were 3 tiers back in the day, and then he moved up to tier 2 and then got moved up into tier 1. So he's basically gone through the IRL ladder of F1, F3, F2 and F1 really. It's really good to see the fact that the pace on his return is really, really good, because he is a good driver and he's constantly improving, is Louis. So it's fantastic to watch him having these fights with the likes of Sydney and Merck and co. And Bjorn, who's just behind him, and let's face it, he's not exactly been a pushover.
No, he's thrown his elbows out, giving the guys a bit of a go. So obviously that's what we like to see, people being able to jump in and go, right, I'll give it a go, sort of upset the status quo, as they say. So it's really good to see.
Louis still
starting to spread out a little bit now between most of the field.
Well, if he opens the DRS as he closes in on Sydney up towards Ascari, he won't get a move done this time around, but if he can just stay close to that Red Bull through Ascari, there's a chance he could stay in the slipstream down towards Parabolica. Just needs to get through Parabolica cleanly and with a good exit. And that looks clean enough.
Obviously Merton as well with his own, just at the front. Leisurely Monday night drive, I suppose. What he must be thinking.
Yeah.
Clark's not too far behind.
The question is, those two potentially accepting they're going to be 1-2. Ashton picks up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Not sure what his plan is at the moment, because there's no point for fastest lap in the sprint. Or is he going to get on the soft tyre? Because they'll have an excess of them.
Oh, the wing. Yeah, wing damage.
That'd be why then.
But
Oh, Louis gets really sideways coming out of the De La Rocha chicane, and Beyond a Boa doesn't say no to an open door. Through goes the Aston Martin before Lesmo. Louis just lighting the rears up coming out of that second chicane.
But he's got DRS again. So he's just got to do all that work all over again. So I think it's fair enough to say, I think that charge is well and truly done, unfortunately, Jordan.
It is, but now it gives Bjorn a bit of a chance, because now Bjorn's got a slight little bit of clean air. He's still in the turbulent air of Sydney, but not quite as much yet. If Bjorn can get within DRS of Sydney, again, it all depends on how the tyres are feeling, because Sydney on those hard tyres may start to have a slightly nicer advantage here over those on the mediums and the steps. Up into 6th, actually, he's quietly got himself up into 6th as the steps in the Alpine, occupying that final sprint point paying position. Owen also under attack from Yellow Geese in the background. I say under attack, now overtaken by Yellow Geese in the Red Bull. And actually, Yellow Geese picks up 3 seconds to add to his woes.
The commentator's curse strikes again, unfortunately, George.
Well, I wouldn't say it was really a commentator's curse. He didn't crash. He just obviously ran a bit wide, I think, and... Oh, big slide for the steps, though, going through the De La Rocha. That's going to allow the likes of Yellow Geese and Owen to close the gap. 1.5, 1.4 seconds now. Beyond the Boa is not catching up to Sydney, nor is that gap actually staying the same. I think those hard tyres now starting to come into their own world. Although maybe just a little bit too late. ARL picks up 3 seconds of penalties. Not quite. Where's he done that? Lesmo 2, I think he's just picked that up. Maybe just running a little bit too wide coming out of Lesmo's going over the curbs slightly too much. If you're wondering who the top 2 is, it is Merckx in the Haas. He's about to come around to start the final lap. Jeremy Clarkson in 2nd. I haven't really focused much on them. They've been a little bit boring and gapped themselves. Sydney in 3rd now has properly gapped Bjorn. Those hard tyres definitely working for him. Bjorn's actually going to have to go slightly defensive. He's got to be careful how many times he moves. That's good. He goes once back to the braking line. As Owen goes past Yellow Geese, and let's hope Yellow doesn't pick up a 3-second penalty now as he goes through. McLaren up to 7th, but again they're nowhere near catching up to the steps, holding that final points paying position here in the sprint race. Yellow Geese right on the back here of Owen as we watch Louis through the second chicane. Have a look at Owen as they come through the De La Rocha.
Fastest lap.
That's no surprise on the soft tyres.
It does nothing, unfortunately.
Oh, big sideways snap from Yellow Geese and coming through Lesmo 1. That's going to end any chance he had of getting Owen down into Ascari. Meanwhile, Louis all over the back of Beyond a Barrow coming into Ascari. Can't quite find the gap though. It's not normally a place you're overtaking Ascari unless you can be alongside way in before the braking zone. But we're going to
go back to Merckx, who's just coming around Parabolica.
It's been a lights to flag victory for Merckx, who wins the sprint race here in Monza. Jeremy Clarkson uses all that power to get himself into 2nd, with Sydney in 3rd. 4th, he loses a point to his championship rival. Louis is in 5th. The Steps is in 6th, with Yellow Geese was 7th, now Owen 7th. Yellow Geese in 8th. ARL is in 9th. The Wolf will come along for 10th place. Meanwhile, we're going to wait for Ashtube, who's just coming down to Parabolica now on his soft tyres. Obviously, he does have the fastest lap, but that won't count for anything. Maybe just a bit of practice ready for the second one-shot qualifying of the night on the soft tyre. He runs a little bit wide through Parabolica, just about keeps it in bounds though. There's a massive weave to celebrate 11th place across the line in the sprint, but generally speaking, a good little race that, considering it was only 9 laps. No real strategy in there. Obviously, I think Sydney was hoping that the mediums would go off a lot faster than that, but didn't quite happen. So your provisional results for the sprint race: Merck takes the win from Jeremy Clarkson. Sydney is in third, Beyond a Barrow fourth, Louis fifth, The Steps in sixth, Owen seventh, Yellow Geeson in eighth, ARL ninth, The Wolf 10th, Ashtube 11th, and Rockley the only person to not finish the sprint race.
It's a bit of a shame, that, to be honest, but obviously, hopefully, they manage to stick around for the whole race because they'll be able to get a point, even if they're in last. So, but no, we're going to give our drivers a quick 5-minute break. Just let them stretch their legs, get a drink, do whatever else. Just, sort of move around a bit. Obviously, before we start, one-shot quality again, but for the future race. So, in regards to our standings, Jord, so as it stands, obviously this is not taken into account what we've just witnessed. We have, obviously at the minute, Sydney on top of 83, Beyond on second in 70 points, The Steps with 46, third, Paul Raystick, who's unfortunately not with us this evening, on 45, ARL on 38, Jerry Clarkson on 37, Merck 36, Ashtube 34 for himself, Sunboy, Yagis on 33, Denmark 24, Maldebor 16, Owen on 13, Louis on 11, Psychic, who's not with us this evening, on 7, and everyone else who has been reserves. The Wolf is on 2 points, and yeah, that is it. Everyone else has scored no points. In regards to our constructors, sorry, my phone is having a mare. Obviously, like George said earlier, our current runaway holders at the moment, the Red Bull team, Sydney and Jan Geeson, 116. Obviously, about 30 points behind at the moment is Bjorn and Milo in the Aston Martin. The Race Bulls of RL and Ashtube on 72 points. Alpine of the Steps in Denmark on 70 points. McLaren, Paul Raystick and Owen on 58 points. Haas being Merck and Psychic Chip 43 points. Obviously Williams, just as obviously the man himself, Jeremy Clarkson, Speed and Power, is on 37 points. Our Ferrari duo on 35 points. And Mercedes on 2. But no, obviously that does not include the results we've just witnessed. So, as we've mentioned, obviously everyone that finishes tonight will get a point. But question is, can obviously Bjorn needs to sort of chip away massively on Sydney, and can Sydney keep up the consistency compared to obviously same point last season where it sort of fell apart unfortunately for them. So it'd be nice to see what happens. But we've got about a minute, 2 minutes left before we go forward, and yeah, hope for the best. But no, obviously not round. Next week we've got Singapore, which will be our final round of the season, and then we will be aiming to release any information in regards to next season probably in the next 2 weeks. Probably be around mid-January we're expecting the start date, but please just look at the social medias, Discord. Obviously any information we can provide we'll be able to pass on to yourselves. So, but yeah, if you just bear with us a few minutes while we just prepare the drivers, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, the feature race is going to be one of those interesting ones. 27 laps. What sort of strategy do you pull around here? Because tyres can matter around here, but it all depends how much they wear and how much the drop off is. I mean, we saw Sydney sort of drop beyond the Boa, but didn't really make much of an impression into the top two near the end of that race.
Yeah, it seemed like just as soon as they had that gap, to be fair, the pair of them, it was just manage the gap, really, to be honest. It wasn't really anything too much, so let's just see what it goes out this time, to be fair. But for the penultimate time qualifying in 2025 for our Tier 1 drivers is shortly going to commence, so...
Yeah, it's actually we'll talk about what the final round later in the stream, but let's go on board with the steps this time in the Alpine. Telemetry on. He comes out of Parabolica. They'll take control. DRS open down the main straight. A bit of overtake mode from the Alpine just to get the top speed up. 214 miles an hour, hit the brakes at 100 meters, I think that was. Just goes a little bit deep into the Variante Rettifilio as he comes out down towards Curva Grande. Keep it flat, keep it as tight as you can, really, just to lessen the meterage. Just drift out wide, which is interesting in the steps as he comes into the Della Roggia chicane. Nice little clip of each of the curves. Silesmo 1 then. 50 metres just after. Remember, I say it's slightly. You can take a slightly early apex, take a later apex through there. Lesmo 2, definitely one apex through there. As you use the curve on the exit to maximise your run. DRS open. So head down the curva do Seraglio and towards the Variante Ascari. It's amazing how late you can brake in these cars. Left, right, left. Absolutely pinned on the exit. Use some battery as you come down the back straight towards what is now known as the Alboreto curve, but as I say, the Parabolica curve is what it's always going to be known to by racing fans. And just tilts in 5th gear and then picks up the throttle mid-corner, keeping it to the right again, lessen the meterage as you head up towards the line. Merck sets the fastest time. I think it's slightly slower than the first one, but it's still quick enough for pole position here in this second qualifying session. The steps finishing 7th in the Alpine of the 12 runners.
Yeah, it's quite an impressive qualifying then, to be fair. Obviously going into Parabolica, seemed it's sort of close to the back of the grid. Obviously just to be able to get it going, better traction out of Parabolica, jumped up 7th, so... But no...
The grid order for the feature race, Merckx and Sydney take up the front row once again. Jelle Giesen and Bjorn de Boer once again on row 2. Owen and Jeremy Clarkson, I think, once again row 3 with the steps and Ashley row 4. Row 5 is Louis and Rock Lee. The Wolf and ARL, sorry, on the back row. I think I don't know what quite happened to ARL there, but he obviously made a mistake somewhere because he was about 4 seconds off the pace, which, as we know, is not representative for ARL whatsoever.
Might just be an off day. Well, at the end of the day, you do the job in the race, not qualifying. That's where all the points come from. So let's see what he can do in the race.
There's Jelle Giesen saying that obviously the abandoned qualifying that got done, he done at 18.183. Then he's done at 18.182, and then this session he's done at 18.175. 3 laps within 8 thousandths of a second. I mean, You can't argue with consistency like that in qualifying. It's just a case of now putting it into action in the race to secure a result. And remember, all drivers, I mean, if any driver is watching this stream or listening to it, please just get to the end and finish. Please, even if anything goes wrong with your race, you can get spun, have damage, get to the end of the race. Every position pays points here for this race. 12 point scoring positions, 12 runners. I think the math is pretty easy. I mean, and as we've seen, especially in constructors, every point counts in the championship. And, you know, for Red Bull especially, with the likes of the RBs obviously here, potentially could put a spanner in the works, being the only other team with 2 cars here. You know, those 1-2 points, if you have a bad race, could be the difference between getting a title.
Obviously, like you said, it's that big difference, and obviously you want to cut that down as much as you can to teams around you, especially going into the final round next week in Singapore. So, obviously, you never know. 1 or 2 points might make that massive difference. So, but yeah.
I have just noticed that in the pit lane here we got a row of the Dutch in Rocky Lee, Yellowgeeson and Sydney, all neighbours in garages. It is the Dutch area of the paddock, I think. Funny things you notice when you're awaiting a race start.
It's the little things, isn't it?
Well, that's what they say anyway.
Well, yeah. But no, obviously, formed. It's good to go. So, just waiting on someone to press the magic button now. So,
That shiny red button. I mean, apparently Owen doesn't have a nationality, or his nationality's not on the applicable options.
Just
there.
human. Just Owen.
Does that mean he's human? Or?
Well, it's just Owen, innit, really, let's be honest.
He is an earthling.
Kind. Humanoid. But no. It's,
Meanwhile, there's some actual serious stuff going on now because we've got a well, I say serious stuff, it's only a formation lap, but
you've got to start somewhere, mate.
Drivers pulling away. Let's see what tyres everyone is on as we pull away. We've got 3 hard runners to start with. That is Jeremy Clarkson, the steps, and ARL. Unsurprising that ARL's gone for the hard tyres, starting at the back of the pack. Obviously, Jeremy Clarkson in the steps, just going for a different strategy, but I would note, for the steps, that's probably his only set of hard tyres he's got for this race. He's either going hard to medium one stop, or he's going hard medium medium. I mean, on the race strategies I can see here, there's a potential for a 3 stop apparently, starting on the softs, going to mediums, and then 2 sets of hards. So I don't think anyone has any clue what's going to happen here.
No, I just don't think it'd be a great move to go on those softs, if I'm honest. Obviously, don't get wrong, if it's near the end of the race, late safety car, it's an obvious decision. You know, if you've got a decent gap, or you just say, let's see what we can get out of it. I just don't really think a 3 stop here is a good idea. But that's me personally. So, obviously, will tell me I'm wrong somewhere. So, but no. Yeah. Be interesting. No, obviously. Anyone to watch out for this evening, and Jordan? Anyone do you reckon is going to take the crown?
The top 4, you have to say, are contention. Jeremy Clarkson on that alternate strategy could pay off for him later in this race.
All the steps. The steps.
Yeah, I think the steps, his strategy's kind of play out for him unless it's a 1 stop. In fact, he's going to have to go 2 sets of medium tyres later this race. But because he used 1 hard set in the sprint. But once again, you can see Mert angling that car towards the pit wall. All the drivers are lined up. We are ready to go for the feature race, the penultimate round of the season. One to go after this. 10 red lights to go in the season. We're about to get 5 of them here. And here we go. 5 red lights for the Italian Grand Prix. We are underway, and Merck looks to have got a good start once again. Has he got enough of a start to get in front of Sydney? Yes, he has. As we head down towards turn number 1 for the first time at the first chicane. Bjorn splitting the 2 Red Bulls. Bjorn looking to go through the pair of them. He's alongside Yellow Geese. He gets through into second place between the middle of the Red Bulls. A great start from the Aston Martin, and very important for his championship. Sydney gets past Yellow. Yellow, no doubt, going to have to play the team game here to get Sydney as many points as possible. As Jeremy Clarkson goes all over the road, goes down the inside of... does he? Yes, he does. Does he get a position? No, he does not. Does he get a good enough exit? I don't think he does, but Louis looking to the inside of the steps. Ooh. Compound difference.
That was quite interesting.
Louis gets past the steps. Sorry, Mikey, you were saying about ARL?
No, just saying, obviously, the Wolf seems to slow down quite a bit after the second chicane. Just left the door open for ARL. She was like, oh, thank you very much, goodbye, I'll have that.
So flag the Wolf having issues. That's the left-hander.
I'm not sure because he was sort of quite close to Rockley, so I'm not sure of contact.
Doesn't know if there's any damage on his car, but we'll keep an eye on it, see what happens. Remember, he just has to finish to get some points here. That's what he needs to do. So, but back at the front, Merck leads by 0.7 of a second to Bjorn de Burrow, who's got Sydney just 0.4 behind. Bjorn, an unbelievable start to this race, splitting the 2 Red Bulls into that first chicane, and it paid dividends as he managed to get up into second. But now he's got to get on the attack as Louis goes off the road through turn 1 and 2. He rejoins and he's back behind the steps. He's going to lose another place to Ashtube. Probably a wise thing to relinquish some positions as Rockley under attack from ARL. ARL looking to the inside of the De La Roggia chicane. It's a bit tight, and Rockley goes one way or the other, and the ARL gets a lovely switch back through the De La Roggia and up into 10th place for the RB.
That's brilliant. Obviously, like you said about Bjorn before, George, obviously they're going to be doing everything they can to maximise the points from this, obviously being on their own this week. So,
not just being on his own, I mean, it's the whole driver's fight as well with Sydney.
Yeah,
he needs to take as many points as he can away from this race and away from Sydney to give himself a good chance at the final round in Singapore.
No, obviously it's nice to see the pack's quite check what are 6 seconds between Rockley and Merckx, so that's pretty impressive, to be fair. It's nice to see no one's dropped off. As obviously, unfortunately, I'm not sure what's happened with the Wolf, but everyone else is pretty good to see everyone.
Key element here, Bjorn de Boer outside DRS zone right now. He's just about got it back in, probably with a bit of ERS usage. But he's
out of it again.
Yeah, he could struggle to get DRS here. I think he is going to struggle as he comes through Lesmo 1. I think he's going to struggle to get some DRS here. Down towards Ascari, yes he is. He's outside. It's going to give Sydney and Yella, and this is a very important thing really with the Red Bulls having 2 drivers here. They can
work together.
Well, Sydney's got a nice rear guard here in Yella, so before anyone comes to really attack Sydney, they've got to get through Yella, and that's a really nice thing for Sydney because it means he can just focus in front, focus on that Aston Martin who he's fighting for the championship with.
Yeah, obviously, as well, obviously if they start to build a gap, obviously from Owen, what they could do is effectively piggyback each other on the DRS. You know, obviously if Sydney wasn't able to keep the DRS on Bjorn, but Bjorn's got it this time on Merck.
Sydney though is closing in. Not at a good enough rate though. Beyond the barrier, he needs to. I mean, the other thing as well is Merck. I was viewing through the standings earlier, Mikey. I don't know how far behind Merck was, but whether he realistically even has really much of a chance, because he did join a bit late this season.
Yeah, I think I'll just get it back up again, but I don't think they're too close. If I'm right honest with it, you're Mike 7th on 36. Yeah, there's a bit of a jump.
So, what was the gap between Bjorn and Sydney coming into tonight then?
13 points.
13 points, which is now 14 points after that sprint race.
Mm.
So what we're saying then is, we've got a yellow flag, and that's Rock Lee out of this, and we have a safety car. And I think he's lost it on the exit of Lesmo 2 into the inside wall. A very common way to crash at Lesmo 2, but it has brought out the full safety car.
Mm. I imagine some of these drivers will go, well, if I put the hards on now, it's a free pit stop. And then, if all I can do is, obviously, if I can get them to last.
It's very early. Okay. Let's see. Mert fakes into the pits. Bjorn stays out. Sydney comes in. Jelle is going to double stack here.
Everyone else is basically in.
Interesting that Jeremy Clarkson's the steps is coming as well. That's very interesting.
But obviously both Bjorn and Merck have stayed out. But everyone else
ARL
has the pits.
ARL has also stayed out on his hard types.
Bro.
Wow, this is really shaking a few things up. I mean, Jeremy Clarkson's steps now on medium tyres. I mean, Jeremy's okay because he can go back onto another set of hard tyres later this race, so he can make up some positions here. But the steps, I think the steps only has 2 sets of medium tyres to last him nearly 22 laps. I mean, granted, that might be 20 laps by the time you get around to it, but I mean, remember that sprint race, the tyres, I don't think they were too pleasant at the end for the medium runners, but yeah, I'm pretty certain that's the only way that the steps can go, unless he puts his original hard tyres back on later.
Potentially. Obviously, as we know, I think it might have been Owen, obviously mentioned that he's had quite a high tyre wear through the race. Obviously, it's different, the sprint race to the feature race, so...
It won't be much different because it's technically the same tyre wear rate. As I say, it only differentiates when you sort of... When you change the distance of that feature race, that's when it changes the tyre wear, because, like I say, it's still a third distance of a feature race, so the tyre wear won't change that much. In fact, at all, not really. It shouldn't really change at all. But yeah, this is going to be interesting. 3 cars stayed out. Sydney technically now becomes de facto leader, but again, we don't know what Merck's planning. Whether he's now going to maybe change this to a one-stop race. I mean, you'd have to feel that maybe Sydney and co, just everyone who's just pitted, maybe just put themselves onto a 2-stop strategy at the least.
Well, obviously it initially said 2 stops and 3 stops available, but no, you might be right there, to be fair. Why would you go for 3 stops if, obviously, there's no really need for it?
I mean, Sydney's in a good place as well, remember, because he was on the hard tyres in the sprint, which means he's got 2 sets of mediums to burn, so he's already burnt the first set. He's now on the hard tyre, so he can go back to a fresh set of mediums come the end of this race. Whereas Merckx, he has 2 sets of hard tyres remaining that are brand new, and some softs courtesy of the qualifying.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I imagine our safety car will be coming in this lap. I imagine we'll find out shortly as we go under the bridge, is it? Or is it as we come under after Scary?
And technically, by F1 law, it should be about now. There we go. It's when you get through the second sector normally that you get the message. Because then you get a whole sector to allow the safety car to scamper away back to the pits. And there goes Burton Nylander. In the front of your screen in that Mercedes safety car.
Obviously doing a brilliant job as always.
So Merckx holding everyone now as he head down towards Parabolica. He'll want to control. Obviously, he gets to control when they go, and he'll want to probably go.
I reckon leave it till last minute, you know.
Well, you say that, but then everyone's still on your back, and you've got the drag all the way down. Remember, that's the start line. As here comes Merckx before Parabolica. He's got the jump on Bjorn, but Bjorn looks like he's got a slightly better mid corner through Parabolica. But I tell you what, Bjorn's got a bit of a jump on ARL as well, 7/10. I think Sydney's going to get ARL come the end of the straight. Here comes Bjorn. Down towards turn 1 we go. Bjorn to the outside. Sydney's going to look to the inside of the sister team. And no changes in the front 4 as we head through. Oh, a bit of a collision behind there between Yella and the steps. Yella into the back of the steps there. Owen up into 6th place. Or down to 6th place. Jeremy Clarkson into 5th. Remember, Jeremy Clarkson on those fresh medium tyres. He's going to have good grip coming out with the chicanes. For definite as this Sydney comes into the De La Roja side by side with ARL. It's close, but both drivers just about give enough room. And Sydney moves up, and Jeremy Clarkson looks to the inside, but that door's going to shut very quickly. Although ARL runs a little bit wide, we look behind from Sydney.
Wheel banging.
Oh, and Jeremy Clarkson gets through, and here comes Owen. Here comes the steps. ARL going backwards in a hurry.
Not sure if he. I don't know if he's put no damage in.
I don't know where the yellow just went in the back of ARL. Then I did just see some form of contact. Oh my word, that's a leap and a half from ARL, and Yellow Geeson gets caught out. Not really a lot ARL could have done. I mean, he launched off the inside sausage curb, and you could see from the helicopter camera the car just took flight.
I've become a helicopter now. Bye bye.
I'm not sure. More like a jet that just went absolutely die straight. Yellow Geeson into the pit. Not surprising. I think he's going to have a new front wing.
I'll hang on Yellow Geeson to see what happens.
The rest of the field.
Just new tyres.
That's interesting. Unless he wanted a new front wing, but the game didn't give it to him. It is known to happen. If that's the case, and that's a whole pit stop sort of out of pocket for Yellow.
He's gone to a set of hards. The Wolf's been a bit quiet past few laps, to be fair. They've just took the time getting through the order and stayed out with any issues, which is good to see, to be fair.
Yeah, just to show everyone what I mean for ARL, we're going to go on board with Merckx as we head into Ascari. So you go left, right, left, and on this left you've got the sausage curb on the left hand side, that little yellow curb there. And ARL, I think he's turning early because he knows he's on the wrong line. Unfortunately, he's just turning a little bit too much, clipped that yellow sausage curb, and it's just launched the front of the car up. And obviously, if the wheels aren't touching the ground, you don't have any steering. You are literally a passenger.
To ban them quite a while ago. Because they had issues with the GT3s, ironically, at Ascari about 2-3 years ago. Oh, here we go. Is Bjorn going to make a move on Merckx on the left hand side? Oh, wheel to wheel into the first corner.
Jeremy Clarkson almost going out the inside of Sydney as well by mistake. But Bjorn does get into the lead of this race. And you can see the top 9 all there in one shot, which is great to see.
But no, obviously some good traction, to be fair, from obviously our top 4. Merckx just having a little look on the inside. Bjorn's going to do everything he can, I imagine, to just try and get the foot down.
Back into the pit. I think this is definitely for a wing change.
Yep, wing change.
Yeah, I think he had it set on auto, thinking it would change the wing, but the wing wasn't damaged enough for the game to go, well, let's change it.
I think that's the one thing with the game, though, isn't it? Even if it's like yellow, it won't change it. You have to tell it.
I think it has to be at least orange or something, or dark yellow for the game to go. Yeah,
stupid.
But I think it's because the game sort of thinks it's not that bad damage. You probably won't suffer too much with it, which is normally quite very wrong. But we head through Parabolica City now, all over the back of the Hatter Merck. But Jeremy Clarkson trying to join the fray. I think Merck's going to stick very much to the inside of this track.
Oh, Owen's making a move from Clarkson. Wow.
Oh, and Merckx, I didn't realise this. Merckx going around the outside of Bjorn de Boer with that DRS. Bjorn's now got Sydney down the inside. It's very, very close.
By the champions. Well, it's really close racing. Wow.
Merckx retakes the lead from Bjorn. Ashtube gets past the steps, I think, in the process.
Guys, come on. Not free. It's the first chicane.
Into the second chicane with De La Roja. And Bjorn de Boer picks up the lead once again. We got a yellow flag. That's Louis in the background. He's had some unfortunate stuff going on. But the lead continues to can constantly swap hands here. What this is doing though is actually playing into the hands of Bjorn and Mert, because if they end up taking this to a one-stop race, which if they can make the mediums last maybe 13 laps, somehow 12, 13 laps, they could potentially get these hards to the end of the race at that point. And this may well benefit.
Sorry, Clarkson. Oh, is he going to try and go for Sydney at the late lunge? No. See, sorry, John. It's just very close race.
This is Monza for you. It is Monza chaos. Yellow saying he's loving this. Yeah, it's a bit of unfortunate.
Is Sydney going to split? Oh no, threading the needle. No, bit of contact between the three.
Sydney will get some good traction though, as I think Ashton has a little bit of an issue there. Sydney got good traction, as did Owen, and Owen's almost going to follow through here for third place, but beyond the barrier, it's going to go around the outside. We're going to go 3 wide through Curva Grande. Down towards the Della Roggia, and beyond the barrier comes out second. Owen gets into third. I tell you what, you can't predict anything this race, although one thing you can predict, Bjorn needs to stay in this DRS of Merck to get back on the back of him. Otherwise he's in big trouble from the cars behind, especially with the tyre delta mounting against him during this stint.
Owen making a bit of a charge, to be fair, this race. Whatever he's got on that car, wow.
Ashtube gets past Jeremy Clarkson coming into Scari.
No.
Beyond the Boa just about hanging inside DRS right now, which is crucial for him, as the Sydney has the steps on his tail.
It is quite scary how close, literally from first to ninth, everything is. Oh, ARL's making a move on there. Jeremy Clarkson, can he do it on the teammate? No. Playing it safe.
I don't risk anything on Ashtube, but Jeremy Clarkson, I don't know whether Jeremy Clarkson burnt through those tyres very quickly, but he's starting to struggle already, and he's only been on those tyres for 7 laps. So it's not good news for the Williams driver if he is burning through his sets of rubber.
But no, obviously the steps now coming into this fight. Wow.
Lesmos and Beyond the Bow is still just about hanging on to Merck's DRS right now. Oh, a bit of a twitch out of Lesmo 2. Didn't cost him too much, luckily.
Was he going to give Owen a bit of a chance here?
No, not far enough down to Ascari. You need to be about 2 tenths, I reckon, through Lesmo 2 to warrant having a go at Ascari. Because when it's corners Ascari, you shouldn't go for a lunge in Ascari. It will go very, very wrong. Meanwhile, the steps are actually now, rather than putting pressure on to Sydney, he's actually come under pressure from Ashtube behind in the 2 racing bulls. And just a reminder here, Sydney currently...
the front 2 are going in.
There we go. I did say if they could go about 12-13 laps, they could turn this into potentially a one-stop race.
So this is going to be quite interesting, to say the
fending
least.
off, a bit of locking up into the first corner, allows a little sniff for Sydney. Can't quite convert the sniff into a place. And Ashtube moves up into 3rd place. ARL in 5th, and he's sort of tagging his teammate along right now during this race.
Obviously, as it stands, if it was to finish as it is, the top... Oh, Sydney's got first just before the 2nd chicane. Obviously, both racing bulls would take away the maximum points as a team for tonight's event, but
not the maximum
race anyway.
But the most for the most for the race.
Yeah.
Not necessarily maximum, because maximum would be 1 for a second and fastest lap.
Well, the most. Sorry, but you get what I mean.
Sydney though leading the way. Now remember, I think we can all agree that everyone apart from Merck and Bjorn now has to pit again. Those tyres will be absolute scrap by the time if they decide to make them trial last. So Merck and Bjorn could potentially now be the de facto leaders of this race. I'm going to change the gap to the leading gap, and it's 20.3 seconds back to Merck. As I think the steps now comes into the pits and off those medium tyres. Be interesting what he goes on to as
I'll look at
Owen
the steps and
gets
see what it
back
comes.
past Sydney.
Question is though, with Owen sort of fighting with Sydney, is that also going to be quite good for Bjorn and Mert? Because it gives them a chance to. Because obviously, if Sydney's sort of focused on scrapping with Owen, it's going to give those two guys a decent chance to catch them. But then
It does, but you've got to be
does
slightly wary of the fact that
Sydney pit.
you've got to be a bit wary that the DRS will sort of help negate a bit of that factor, because Merckx won't have DRS right now. The smartest thing for Bjorn and Merck to do here is, if Bjorn can get inside Merck's DRS, is obviously almost like play DRS leapfrog here, to try and keep this gap closing. Although I must admit, through the corners, Merck is ripping time out of the leading cars. He's now got that gap down to 18 seconds. But then as soon as you hit, say, the DRS, it just holds station just for a little bit before coming back down again. So the DRS is a little bit of a saviour here. It'll be interesting to see sort of when these guys pit, or if these guys pit, shall we say, where they'll come out. But Sydney maybe now realising fighting probably isn't the best way forward right now, unless it's a clear cut he can get away chance.
But obviously, I think one of the big things is as well is, when do they pit? Do they pit now and probably have I guess 2 or 3 lap like younger tyres?
I mean, for Sydney, I think any time in sort of the next 3 to 4 laps, because I think he'll come back out on a set of mediums again, because obviously he used the hard tyre in the sprint, which means he'll have, in terms of brand new sets of non-soft tyres, he'll have 2 mediums and a hard.
I think Owen only used medium, if I'm correct, in the sprint.
The hard trod runners were Sydney, the Steps. I want to say Jeremy Clarkson as well.
It was Rock Lee, was it? I think Rock Lee.
I'm not sure.
But no. Obviously, Owen's doing a decent job, to be fair to him. He had a bit of an unlucky season.
And here comes Sydney to answer our question. The question is, what tyre is he going to go on? Because I'm pretty certain he only has a medium set available from the brand new get-go. It's a set of hards.
Yep, brand new hards.
So I'm surprised. Right, I'm pretty certain he shouldn't have a set of hard tyres, unless the game's a bit weird. But there goes Merckx, there goes Bjorn de Boer, and you can see the undercut time they've managed to pull on the Red Bull. A little bit of fight. As I say, a bit of fight. We've got Astrup in second, ARL third, Jeremy Clarkson fourth. I'm not quite sure how
I'll be loving this.
I'm not quite sure how the game is doing the tyres here, because I'm almost certain that
Sydney's had hard tyres.
Sydney's now had, that's his third set of hard compound tyres, unless they are older ones and we just don't see it.
Oh, sorry, just a bit of a catch from Owen, then going through a Scary. So obviously the flick left was alright, and the flick right it's just too much bit of curb, and the back end started to swivel. But obviously caught it. It's still going. Precious, what is he going to do? Oh,
into the pits
he
comes.
Obviously, this coming in.
Just about gets it stopped. ARL comes in. Oh my word! It's an absolute Jeremy Clarkson getting 10-second penalty for a severe collision with ARL coming into the pits. He nearly, well, I say nearly, he must have hit ARL coming in, but I was going to say he nearly pile driven the RB.
Oh, and right there's Mert and Bjorn into second and third. Obviously, questions.
Sydney through.
Needs to keep going now. That's all he needs to do.
A bit of a quiet drive here from Louis. Had some issues earlier on. He's now up into 6th place.
Owen's gone onto the mediums. To be fair, you could actually do 10 laps around here.
Yeah, maybe just about. Although, based on what Owen's tyre wear was, I don't think I'd want to try it.
Well, if anyone can do something weird and wonderful, it's our own tier 1. Yeah.
So it's just Ashtube left and Yellow Geeson to make another pit stop here. Ashtube 12 seconds ahead of the de facto leader of Merckx.
But no, Merckx is cutting this time down, to be fair, on Ashtube quite a bit. So,
Ashtube comes into the pits.
imagine they'll be going for the medium compound tyre.
They could go for the harder to ensure that they can just have the tyre life till the end here.
There's Merckx coming through with Bjorn not too far behind. But obviously Sydney is not too far behind them as well, so this could be quite interesting.
There's Sydney, he's now through.
Oh, Owen's going to want to move. Is Owen going to go? Oh, he's going for it. Late move. Lovely on the inside of the first chicane. Turn 2. Lovely, great bit of traction from Owen there, to be fair. Wow, okay. Owen is here to get points. Fair play.
Well, everyone here is here to get points, and Owen looking to be the disruptor he loves being. I think. I mean, he loves getting in the way of people. Obviously, completely fairly and legally, obviously, but he enjoys being that sort of thorn in the side of those drivers fighting for titles, fighting for wins. Just being a bit of an annoyance, shall we say.
He's a bit like a lovable rogue, isn't he, sometimes, when he has his moments. But
I mean, it cannot be lost that he is on medium tyres right now. And I think for Owen, I don't know whether he's gone for the mediums on the basis that this could potentially be a safety car later, in which everyone goes to the soft compound.
I think that's a dangerous play.
It's a dangerous play, but it is Monza, and it can happen as Ashtube gets past Jeremy Clarkson. And Jeremy Clarkson almost gets right back at him through Parabolica. Can't quite do anything with that, though, as we go back to the intervals on the left-hand side of the leaderboard. Owen picks up the fastest lap, a 1:20.964, as the steps gets past Jeremy Clarkson. Jeremy Clarkson just having a bit of a almost off race for him at the moment. He's really struggling around here in that Williams. As the steps looks to the inside of Ashtube, gives him a little bit of a nudge, but it's all good. He's pretty much clean so far. But yeah, Jeremy Clarkson really struggling tonight in terms of that Williams round Monza. It's a bit of a surprise, but it can happen to even the best drivers. ARL was shaping up for a move on Louis, but couldn't quite find the gap.
Obviously, I reckon Bjorn is hoping that Owen can fend off Sydney for as long as he can. Just gives him that bit of breathing room. Obviously, especially points-wise, with 14 points, sorry, George, as you mentioned earlier. But no. Oh, ARL's done the move on Louis.
DRS up into Ascari. Job done again, ARL on those medium tyres. He'll have good grip coming out of the corners, good traction. Louis, though, on the battery going down towards Parabolica. I'm not sure I'd have done that move if I was Louis, if I'm completely honest.
You just get rid of your own DRS, really, going down the main street.
Right, that's the thing. It now gives ARL the ability to have DRS. And as Owen and Sydney going side by side, Sydney through. Here comes ARL as predicted. And the problem is now for Louis, all it's done as the steps gets past Ashtube, goes down the inside of Louis as well into the first corner. Louis looks to fend him off. Can he find the traction? Kind of. They're still side by side, but the steps will have the inside for Curva Grande.
Steps has just got it.
But this is the thing for Louis. He gave up DRS, and because of that, it allowed ARL to get past him and have, because he's on the better tyres, better traction out of the chicane, and gives him a good sector and a half of ability just to pull away from him. So yeah, I think Louis maybe.
Yeah, because he's going to have Ashtube. So
the Wolf picked up 3 seconds in the meantime. Yeah. But
can this be insult to injury, George? No, I think it's a bit too far.
No chance. As I say, it's a risky move into a scar unless you're already alongside before the braking zone. It's a very risky manoeuvre.
No.
Owen, though, will be looking to get back past Sydney soon.
Obviously, with 7 laps to go, obviously, Merckx in front by just over 3.5 seconds. This is a bit of a split, but Owen's not giving up yet.
He's only up and he's back through. And the problem is they are actually catching Beyond the Boa here. The gap now 3 seconds. It's not come down like massively, but
it's just chipping away.
He's being chipped at, and I mean Beyond the Boa is going to have to save a lot of battery here. I say that he's now down to 2.6 seconds down to the second chicane. Either something's not right with Bjorn's car, or he's just trying to take it easy and not burn up the tyres. But that gap, I mean, that's half a second in a sector and a half.
Or does he put less fuel in, maybe? So obviously try and coast it a little bit in certain places.
You've had 2 laps of safety car where you'd have saved probably enough fuel for...
But that's for the rest of the journey, yeah.
Yeah, something a bit weird. Unless Bjorn just had a bit of a moment out of the second chicane. And it only takes a bit of wheel spin and you can lose sort of half a second. The other big question on my mind, Yellow Geeson. He's running around at the back. Obviously, he's a half minute off the back of the pack. It's been a bit of a lonely race for him, which is very unfortunate for what happened to him. Yeah. When does he come in for soft tyres for that fastest lap? Because currently it's with Owen at 120.9 as Sydney gets past said fastest lap holder so far.
Yeah, well, it's a good point. Obviously, especially for the constructors as it stands, I think it'll be all. Aaron's starting to struggle on those tyres, I think. Bit of a lighten up the tyres out of the chicane. But no, as you were saying, I don't know if it's only a point, but if it's a point that sort of gets it done and dusted and secures, obviously the title, I believe, today, as it stands. Obviously, do correct me if I'm wrong. Probably have to double check that. But it's me personally, I'll just go for it. It's point to point. So get you higher up the standards, but I suppose we'll just find out if he makes the move. So
it'll be a bit of working out. I haven't got my sheet available to me to work out whether the teams can be sewn up tonight. But as we continue on, Sydney now 1.5 behind Bjorn de Boer. This gap is closing, and remember, Sydney needs just 5. Well, let's say just 5 points to completely wrap this up. He probably only needs 4 more than Bjorn de Boer. I mean, that won't come in the form of second place. He'll have to win this race, which right now seemingly very unlikely between. For him getting up to the back of Mert. So he will end up going to Singapore, but the chance of Bjorn de Boer defending his championship is getting slimmer and slimmer with every lap that goes by. Unfortunately,
out the DRS here, mate, as well. Sorry. So I think he's generally struggling on those mediums now.
Yeah, the question for Owen is, can he keep 4th place?
There's a 6.5 second gap, but yeah, it's hard to say.
So just to note, the top 3 points paying positions, it's 17 for a win, 14 for second, 12 for third. So right now the gap between Bjorn and Sydney would drop to 12, but if Sydney goes through, that would go up to 16. Now, again, mathematically not done in the championship for the drivers, but realistically and probability-wise, Sydney would have basically 1.5 hands on that trophy going into Singapore.
I mean, that's something you sort of want going into that last race this season. Obviously, just being able to, not worry too much. To put in a really good performance in both qualifying and the race, you sort of take it easy a little bit. But yeah, obviously 4 laps to go, or 3.5 laps to go, Jordan. I suppose we'll find out. But no, and there we go. The fight we've all been waiting for the past 45 minutes.
Bjorn de Boer, Sydney behind him. Slightly crucial battle between these two. I'm going to do some crude mathematics whilst this battle takes place. We've also got the battle for fifth with ARL in the steps. Sydney looking up towards the inside. No. Can he find the gap? No, he can. We're going to go back to ARL because he is leading a train of cars back to 10th. And no one making a move. Looks of it, although I say that. Jeremy Clarkson locked it right up. I think he went into the back of Ashtube. Ashtube goes round the Wolf. Not the Wolf, sorry. Jeremy Clarkson's round broken front wing. I think Jeremy Clarkson locked up into the chicane, and unfortunately, Ashtube, a slightly innocent bystander in there, but that drops 2 off the back of ARL's train there. As we go back to the battle for a second.
Obviously, no VSC or safety car with it being less than 3 laps to the end. So, I don't know. So, just have a quick look. Obviously, Louis going to make the move on the Wolf into 7th. Oh, and there we go. You called it, Jord. He's gone for it. Got the fastest lap point from Owen. Obviously, oh, Owen's gone. Wow.
Well, he's nearly gone. He's just about saved it, though.
He saved it twice. Wow. He's been very careful. Oh, and then Bjorn's lost it to Sydney. And this is the penultimate lap of the race. Next lap in a bit. It's going to determine how much work Bjorn is going to have to do in Singapore.
Well, right now, it's a lot. He's going to have to basically hope Sydney has a disaster.
And that his teammates there to help him out a bit, but unfortunately, it's see what happens. But no, I think Bjorn's starting to lose. He's just got DRS. He's going to have to make this all count. Oh, we've got a yellow flag.
Just doing a few crude mathematics as we go along.
Yeah, obviously just yellow Geeson.
Getting out of the way from Mert. Although picking up a... that's a little bit naughty from Yella. He shouldn't be ghosting through Merck there.
No.
I mean, whilst he is ghosted, even though obviously you don't cause collision, you should still be treating every car as beyond a bow around the outside of Sydney into turn 1-2. Collision through there. Shades of Hamilton and Verstappen back in 2021, just with a green car instead of a silver one.
And Danny Ricciardo getting the win on that one. It's a good weekend, that. Anyway.
Yeah, beyond the Boer very forcefully taking back his second place. And we got a yellow flag. It's Owen. Owen's had an issue. Owen down to 6th.
I think those tyres have finally give up on him, Jord.
Has he got punctures?
I don't know. He might have.
He's struggling unless they are. I can't see a deflated tyre yet, but yeah. Anyway, we're going to go back up to Mert. We're going to go back up to Mert because Mert is about to win this race. Mert comes through the final corner at Parabolica for the 27th and final time in the Haas. Mert crosses the line. He wins the Italian Grand Prix. Yellow Geeson will come home in 11th. Shouldn't really be doing that, but Bjorn 2nd, Sydney 3rd. The Steps will come home for 4th place, with ARL 5th. Louis is in 6th. The Wolf 7th. Ashtube is going to be in 8th place, with Owen in 9th.
It's a bit of a shame for Owen, unfortunately.
Slight change as Ashtube goes to 7th, the Wolf in 8th. Owen is in 9th. Jeremy Clarkson, I don't know whether he might be going for a fast lap here. He's on the soft tyre. I think Jeremy Clarkson's looking to take away that point.
And Jelgeisen is that fuel light going mental. See, last corner, Paul Ball quite tight there. Can you get it?
That's the line he comes. I don't think he did.
Not too sure. First we'll find out in a second.
Again, also I'm going to be looking at trying to work out the Constructors' Championship. What we do know, though, is that the Championship League for the drivers is now 12 points provisionally. Remember, everything is provisional. As ARL picks up Driver of the Day. Jelgeisen did keep fastest lap in the end. So that's important for him and his team. As we go to the final race results. Merck takes the win from Bjorn de Boer. Sydney in third. The Steps in fourth. ARL fifth. Louis is sixth. Ashtube seventh. The Wolf in eighth. Owen ninth. Jerry Clarkson 10th. Jelgeisen 11th. Rockley the only one to not finish. I'm just having a look through some results. So
But no, I think you'll agree there, George. It was a pretty intensive race from start to finish. Obviously, really good. Obviously, well, you do some mathematics. As I said earlier, before the start of the feature and qualifying, we will try and have news in the next week or two on what's going on for the next season. I'll be starting in 26. So, as always, keep your attention to sort of Discord or social media, and we will try and provide that information as soon as we can. So
by my mathematics, Red Bull come out of this race 32 points ahead of Aston Martin. The maximum you can score in a race is 32. Which I think, but here's the kicker. I think, if I remember correctly, on countback, it goes to the team with the most victories at that point, same as the drivers, of which Red Bull have the most victories. They cannot be contested on that. They have claimed 4 victories this season, 3 to Sydney, 1 to Yella. I think Merck's potentially taken the other. The other one. I'm just having a little look actually at the standings. Sydney's had 3, Yella's had 1. Merck has now taken 3 Grand Prix victories for the other ones. So, as far as I can tell, and even if there's any penalties for Bjorn or anything like that, provided if this was the final results, I believe Red Bull are Constructors' champions right now, by the way of race victories.
Obviously, we'll double check everything for the safe side, and that is the case, we can release that completely. But watch the space. So,
I mean, what it shows is without that fastest lap point from Yella, it would definitely be going to Singapore next week before any potential penalties are applied, because obviously that single point led to them being 32 points ahead. Without that fastest lap, they'd have been 31, and it would have been still mathematically possible for Aston Martin to win the championship. So, I mean, what we say in the commentary box about even if your race is going badly, just keep on going. You may still get points. It counts. It all counts, and that shows it.
It does. But no, obviously, that's been our coverage of Tier 1 at Monza. Obviously, I hope you can join us for our Tier 2. Obviously, race tomorrow evening where Jack and ARL will be taking the microphones in the comms box, watching potentially me crash and Jord do well. But no. Obviously, other than that, next week, last round at Singapore before the Christmas break. So, anything you'd like to add, Jord, before we call it there? Or
No, I think that's pretty much everything, other than obviously if you did enjoy the racing tonight and the stream, don't forget to give it a like and also follow the Invictus Racing League YouTube channel and put your notifications on as well, because we do stream and commentate every race in our seasons live, and you definitely don't ever want to miss one. That's for sure. So make sure you got your notifications on to know when we're going live. And if you do want to get involved, especially next year when we have news of the new season coming up soon for 2026, make sure you get into the Discord so you can get all the information and signed up when they release. But for myself and Mikey, we look forward to seeing you rejoin our streams tomorrow with Jack ARL and potentially Bjorn for tier 2 here at Monza. But from us, thank you for watching tonight. Goodbye.